Energy constraints in some parts of the world, especially Europe, were a key focus among delegates, with the war in Ukraine often overshadowing discussions among global players. This was no exception at the World Economic Forum, where President Volodymyr Zelensky had a virtual audience. He spoke about the challenges of the war, but interestingly indicated that in spite of them, some of Ukraine's key infrastructure, like its railway service, was still able to run efficiently. Some felt that there were lessons to be drawn from this example here at home.
I felt quite envious when I heard about the fact that 96% of their train schedules runs on time. And if you reflect on our own training, on our own train functioning, and some of the things that actually when we are not at war, we don't get right, I guess my takeaway is actually just making sure that I think we go back as a country and really focus on making sure that we've got resilient infrastructure and things work and they serve people, and I think that there is actually delivery at a government level.
South African delegates were clear that they were speaking openly to their global counterparts about the challenges here at home, but were keen to persuade potential investors that the country's long-term prospects were good and therefore worth investing in.
South African perspective, we're saying that we do have a challenge around energy. It's not really an ESCOM problem, it's a national problem, but we can take a multi-sectoral approach to resolving this. And we're saying to investors, stay confident about South Africa. South Africa has always been able to come through its challenges. And, we just need some time, and we have a plan to get through all of this. So we're saying remain committed to South Africa.
At WEF, global CEOs pledged to unlock trillions of dollars for investment in the African Continental Free Trade Area. This would include a focus on the automotive sectors, agriculture, transport and logistics, among others. Some African entrepreneurs were in Davos to ensure that the continent's voice is heard more clearly.
And we mobilized some serious leaders from Africa and the diaspora to come and engage, so that people who would want to know more about the continent would find a place to come and engage, and also for the members from the different countries of the continent to get together and discuss and collaborate. And it's a platform that is not just based on discussions, it has a strong focus on action.
Global inflation continues to be a key theme, with some hope of it easing during 2023. The Reserve Bank was also in Davos to learn from key discussions and seems cautiously optimistic about the inflation path going forward, but implicitly suggests that interest rate hikes are not off the table just yet.
We have had inflation declining for 4 consecutive months. If that trend is sustained, then we could comfortably say that we had reached the peak. But we are not targeting the peak. We are looking for inflation to decline to the midpoint of the inflation targeting range, which is 4.5%. And we need to remain vigilant and make sure that inflation firmly declines to the midpoint of the inflation targeting range before we could say that we have successfully defeated the monster of inflation.
The elephant in the global room remains that of climate change, adaptation to it and mitigation thereof. This as these discussions took place, but against a backdrop where some nations are reverting to the use of coal when they said they wouldn't in the past to ensure energy security, with the talk not quite matching the action. Nampumelelo Siziba, SABC News, Johannesburg.